This was not planned. I actually forgot I was making this video today. So the color coordination has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. It wasn't planned, alright? I'm Wild Reviewer, and welcome to day 4 of 25 Wild Christmas Review Days. Today we are touching upon another Rankin Bass special. Rankin Bass, as you know, if you were here yesterday to hear me talk about Year Without a Santa Claus, Rankin Bass Productions is a very famous company that is unfortunately no longer in business, but they are responsible for making a lot of holiday stop-motion specials, such as Year Without a Santa Claus. They did Here Comes the... That's wrong. The Easter Bunny is Coming to Town. They did The Little Drummer Boy, which I won't be discussing, and they are also known for making a special like what we're going to talk about today, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Now this is going to be a special review video because similar to A Christmas Carol and a few other movies that we will be discussing as the month goes on, this is one of the very few films that I have never seen before. This is my first actual time sitting down and watching Rudolph entirely. I've seen bits and pieces online, and I did get a chance to watch it as a child. However, I don't have a very fond memory of watching it. The memory is very fuzzy to me, and that is probably because we own the Rudolph VHS tape, and when we put it in the VCR, it came out very fuzzy. I have this very vivid image of Rudolph in my head, but there was so much static and so many lines on the VHS. It wasn't even the VHS itself, it was just the way the VCR was acting up. That was an old VCR, so it was making the tape all weird and fuzzy, so that's all I remember of it. I have seen commercials with these characters. I've seen toys of these characters. These characters from this film are everywhere, but it is now 2018. I'm 19 years old, and this is my first time watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in its entirety. Is that how you say it? Entirety? Whatever. You get the point. Here's the story. Released in 1964, this 50-minute stop-motion TV movie focuses on a young reindeer named Rudolph, who is a bit different from all the other reindeer in the North Pole, as he was born with a glowing red nose, apart from the typical black nose that all the other reindeer have. This film tells the exact same story the song tells, how Rudolph is given the chance to lead Santa's sleigh on a very stormy and foggy night one Christmas Eve. However, it isn't all just about that. In fact, that whole plot of the film takes place near the end of the story. The rest of the film focuses on Rudolph's attempt to fit in with all the other reindeer, seeing that he is a bit different. But he's considered as an outcast, as nobody will allow him to play in the reindeer games, which I was very surprised to see was just flying practice. My first time watching it, yes, I'm allowed to not know this stuff. Eventually, Rudolph comes across an elf named Hermie who doesn't want to be a typical North Pole elf, but rather a dentist. After running into each other, the two discover that they are both misfits and decide to set off to find a new place to be where they could be themselves. Eventually, the two run into a man named Yukon Cornelius who agrees to help them find a new place to stay, and they eventually end up on an island with a bunch of misfit toys that are left behind by Santa. As time goes on, Rudolph starts to grow up, and he realizes that this is no place for him to be, and that he should return home to his family, where he discovers that both his mom and dad were taken by the abominable snowman. Now it's up to Rudolph and Hermie to save Rudolph's parents and show everybody that the misfits actually matter. So let me get this out of the way because I'm technically a blind viewer going into this. I had an idea what it was going to be about. I've heard the song. Obviously, it would tell the same tale that the song tells. I just didn't. I kind of had an idea maybe it would tell that little bit of the story at the end. And obviously we were going to focus on Rudolph and his adventure, trying to show everybody that he matters, and saving... I didn't think he would save his parents. I actually thought something bad was going to happen to his parents, because we all know what happened with Bambi. But let me get this out of the way, and then I can touch on everything else. I enjoyed Rudolph. I thought it was very cute. The way it was put together, you kind of have to accept it because, like I said with Year Without a Santa Claus, that was made in 74. This was made in 64. So obviously, it may seem old and cheesy, and sure, the voices may not match up at times, but this was the times. You know, this is what it was like in the 60s with this kind of technology. So for something that, you know, came out in the 60s, that is put together like this, it's pretty good. So the way the stop motion entirely was actually really good. I said it before, I like stop motion stuff, but the entire story was cute. I thought it was nice. This is the thing that I just want to touch upon, which will probably make you think I didn't like it, which is why I want to say I did enjoy it. I enjoyed this story. I did find it a little creepy. I guess that wouldn't make you think that I hated it. There are parts in this story that gave me a bad impression. I was a bit creeped out by a few things. There were just a few shots and things that went on that kind of gave me a little... One of them gave me a little chill, but I kind of just watched it and was like, okay, this is happening. But I guess that's the point of it. Maybe it's supposed to come off odd. So the parts I'm talking about entirely are there's one scene. The one scene that I found creepy was the Island of the Misfit Toys with the Jack-in-the-Box, and there's a musical number with that. And the way, like, all the toys were moving and stuff, and the way that they got close-ups, and I don't know, that kind of creeped me out a little bit, because it was like, okay, this is happening. And, like, Rudolph and Yukon and Hermie, they're just, like, in the middle watching this. They're not reacting other than just, like, watching. It doesn't look like that they're having fun or, like, dancing along with them. It's just, like, they're just there watching it. So that was kind of like a little creepy to me. Everyone takes it a bit differently. Some people could love that scene, but I found it a bit creepy and not disturbing, just a bit odd. There are some scenes with the Abominable Snowman, specifically where he's chasing the characters, that can come off as a bit frightening. I can understand why maybe as a young child you would be afraid of the character, because there are moments in this film where they get a big close-up on him and he's screaming and you see the teeth. So that came off as not disturbing, but a bit creepy, because that's supposed to be like the antagonist of the film. It's supposed to be a little scary at this point. So that I get that. And then the scene where, spoiler, Yukon and the Abominable Snowman fall off the cliff. There's that one frame where you see all the reindeer and, like, Hermie, and they're just looking down. It's like, it's a faraway scene, and you just see the reindeer's heads just, like, go down. That scene kind of gave me a little chill, because it was, like, the way the coloring was for that scene, and, you know, if you watch it without sound, that can actually come off as a bit creepy looking. And if you put a bunch of effects on it, it can kind of give you a bad feeling. Those are just my little opinions on those scenes. Those are really the only things I found a bit creepy. Other than that, again, I liked the story. I thought it was very cute. The voice that Rudolph had, I mean, I think I've heard it before. I could have sworn I heard it before, because again, I would see a few clips from Rudolph, but the voice fit absolutely perfect for Rudolph. The voice for Hermie, though, I didn't expect that voice. I thought Hermie would have had, like, maybe a childlike type voice, maybe a little squeaky. I didn't imagine his voice to sound like a 40-year-old man, especially coming from that body. Let me talk about this one bit as well. This one thing that kind of is a bit interesting. I was a bit shocked to see this as well. So I'm going to be talking about Elf, spoiler, in this little project, but you're not going to see that for a while. I'm not talking about Elf until probably near the end of this project. I'm not going to say what day, just you'll see when the day comes up. But if you've ever seen Elf with Will Ferrell, you'll know the North Pole setting. There are a few claymation characters. The snowman narrator is in this film, and it kind of looks like that it takes place in the same universe as Rudolph, only because of the same claymation styles, and it just looks very similar. There are also a bunch of references to Rudolph in Elf. And of course, me not watching Elf prior, you know, I've already known this because I knew the snowman character was from Rudolph. Again, I just have never really seen this before today. Doesn't mean I was oblivious to the characters or anything about Rudolph, because again, I would see these characters everywhere. I just never fully got to see the movie. But the one thing I did not expect to see are very similar costume designs for the elves in Rudolph and in Elf. So obviously I saw Elf first, and the elf costumes in Elf are extremely similar to the elf costumes in Rudolph. As a matter of fact, the head elf that has become a meme, the one that like slams the door open and he's like, "Why weren't you at elf practice?" He's wearing the same outfit that Buddy wears in Elf. And then, this is how I know for a fact that the costume designs were probably based off on Rudolph. The women elf costumes are the exact same one that the blonde in Elf, I don't know her name on the top of my head, that's cool. That's very professional. But the blonde girl that becomes Buddy's love interest in Elf, it's the same costume. Maybe they are the exact same. I'm not confirming that Elf and Rudolph are in the exact same universe. Maybe they are, I don't know. Bottom line, I enjoyed Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Being the first time that I've seen it, I think it's really cute. I enjoyed watching it. Would I watch it again? Yeah. Maybe next Christmas. I do understand that Rudolph was made into an official animated special, but I'm not going to touch upon that one. I know I said I would talk about any sort of remakes, but that Rudolph, I don't even think people know much about it. I think it was more of a direct-to-home video or DVD film, so yeah, I'm not going to touch upon that. So this one's fine. And with that being said, that is it for day 4 of 25 Wild Christmas Review Days. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure you give it a like if you liked it. And now a question. Do you like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Do you find some parts in it to be a little creepy, or are you even scared of the film? Because some people are. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for day 4 of 25 Wild Christmas Review Days. I've already said that. Cool on me saying it again. Come back tomorrow as we're going to touch upon one final Rankin Bass film that is very popular. It's the only one I really haven't touched upon yet that is well known. I touched upon it a little yesterday, and we're going to go full in depth with it tomorrow. So that should probably give you an idea. If not, the end card will most likely reveal it, because that's what I do. Thank you for watching The Wild Review on The Wild Reviewer, and you just saw me review a thing. Why weren't you an elf?